All right. I thought I just let in Marge, but now I don't see her. Oh, there she is, right in the middle of my screen. Thank you, Marge. All right, I think we have a critical mass. So I'm going to let Millie drive, and I'm going to step away, but I'll have these on so I can hear. And then I'll be back on screen in about 10 minutes. And you're just going to be amazed how differently I look when I come back on screen. So take it away, Millie.
Well, the first thing I have on my list for the agenda is looking at the SWAC, or the kind of Joel's comments. I know you sent out an email yesterday, Mark, with kind of you and Marge's thoughts and feedback on that document.
So I went through the SWAC things, which I think are close to being the criticisms from Joel. And we had some communication with Joel at an earlier time. So that's what we came up with, thinking that deserved to be, well, that we could respond to. I made recommendations, and Marge and I were just talking, and we actually think that we think that everything Ginger's edits, they work for us. If we added it in, pretty much as we agreed, and we used Ginger's edits on some of that wording, we think that we don't know all. I think there's, to be honest with you, I think there's more to SWAC's concerns than I could see in that document, but this is what we could see. And so this is how I responded. We think Ginger's responses are all pretty good. So good, not pretty good. I'm not trying to be negative here. We support them. And the only thing that's kind of unresolved that we think could be added, because I know it's been popping up in other contexts, I've overheard some conversations about everything, is something talking about the limitations of references to the Shemeketa solid waste group, because it's pretty much been defunct since 2000. And the timelines, when you look at that document, all kind of end in the 90s. And so people are saying it's not necessarily, perhaps it should be noted that it's not an active group and not an active plan as we speak.
Mark, so thank you for teaching me how to say that, because I've been saying Shemeketa like for 2 months and nobody's corrected me.
Yeah.
Shemeketa.
Yeah.
Thank you for being the one to finally tell me how to properly pronounce it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're at a pretty good place with this then. If you and Marge want to update the history document with these notes and with Ginger's comments, and then maybe it sounds like putting in like a footnote for the part about the Shemeketa group.
You know what I think we could do is when we discuss it, we could just say Shemeketa Solid Waste Management Group no longer in existence, probably defunct in 2000, before 2000. And we don't want to use that terminology, but probably dissolved before 2000.
Yeah, I did the best internet search I could, which isn't only an internet search, but I could not find, I could find, I think I saw a reference, I think in 2000, but there might have been one after that, but nothing after 2000. And none of them, all of the references were sort of historical, and all the other documents I brought up were way older than that.
Okay.
I think the important thing,
I would like to put it in the text the way Marge said, it just say, which has become since inactive for at least.
No longer inactive, no longer in existence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'd like to put in there somewhere. Right when we talk about the discussion. Let me see if I can pull up the page that would be.
I do want to just point out one thing, just because I noticed it and I don't want it to go any further. Is Airlie is misspelled.
Oh,
and a small town such as Airlie. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
people will notice that, yeah. And then I wondered, do we have a latest history copy that has Ginger's latest graphic in it and the photos in it? Did we?
Yes.
We do.
So
Because I haven't seen that.
yes, I don't know. I didn't send it out because I was having us I was trying to limit the number of documents and emails I sent people in between meetings, but yes, I have that created. So I will send that to you guys as soon as we end, and then that can be what you make the edits on.
That would
Does
be
that
great.
work?
That would be great. I mean, what do you think, Mark? You look pensive.
I think the next edition should incorporate those changes with Ginger's edits and with a rewrite on page, it's 7 of 15 on that one where it says where the reference to the Shemeketa board is, by the way. And let's see where it starts. They formed the Shemeketa region, a cooperative program funded via a grant from the Environmental Protection Agency. We could say this program, we don't know, when it exactly died. I couldn't find any reference to when it died, but we could certainly say, now an operative.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd be like your footnote 25, Millie.
Okay.
Okay, so then if Millie sends out what she has, then you and I can make the corrections that between your and Ginger's comments. Does that sound like if Millie?
I think it makes more sense actually for, we could do that. I think it makes sense for Amelia to put it all together myself, just one person. But if you want to do it that way, where she sends us a copy with the pictures and the timeline, everything worked into it. Yeah, I'd make those changes. I'd do them just like I wrote them in the email with Ginger's edits.
With Ginger's edits.
I don't see why she can just put the whole thing together herself, but
I can, if that's what you guys would prefer. I'm happy to assemble it. The reason I haven't done that kind of up to this point is because we've been trying to shy away from having any staff make any substantive changes to the documents, making sure that that all content changes have been done by members. But given that the content is already there, I'm more than happy to copy.
I think we should do it, Mark. I honestly do. Yeah, because she doesn't have to worry about, is this a strikeout? What is it in red? It's a different font, blah, 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 blah.
No problem. Send it to us.
Mark.
No worries.
Okay. So sounds like we're good on that.
When you send it, give it a new title, please.
I usually would change the date, so it will be like the version from 220. Does that work for you?
That's my biggest danger is
right.
Same document.
There's a lot of versions of the document.
Yes.
Is that good with you, Ginger?
Very
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. The next thing I have on my list is that we got a document from the Planning Commission with their feedback, much like what SWAC did. I put that linked in the agenda, and I will send you guys a copy and just do the same thing that we did with the SWAC material, but this will also be for the community education and outreach stuff. We didn't have it beforehand to send to you guys, or we would have given it to you all at once. I recognize that doing this process over and over is tedious, to say the least.
The links did not work for me again. Like when you said link, jump here, to get to the that did not work for me. I don't know if I did something wrong or if it didn't work for anybody. I did read the planning commission, but I just didn't see much reference to the history document, except saying it's been interesting to read it.
Well, that's because when I read it, that was my thought process too. They really don't have a lot of feedback for the history piece or the community outreach piece, which is the other reason that I decided to hold it off once we got it instead of throwing it at you guys midweek. Because while you will want to look through it again, I doubt there's going to be a lot of substantive change, if any, that you want to make based on their feedback.
What's our deadline on that? I mean, the one changes, they're pretty quick because we've already pre-written them and we agreed, we have consensus. What's the deadline on the planning? When does this next edition have to come back to you and to the committee to go forward to the task force, I think they call it?
So my current understanding is that we wouldn't need your feedback based off the planning commission's information until we meet again next week. But Sam, I know, has been in meetings with staff today that I was not a part of, so he may have an edit to that statement. But as of right now, we would have a week and it would go with edition 5.
Okay, no problem.
So here I am, back, or coming back. Sorry.
The 23rd, aren't we meeting? Isn't the work group meeting on the 23rd this Thursday, 2 days from
Yes.
now?
But
Okay, but
go
this
ahead, I'm
report
sorry.
is not, this report is not going to be part of that meeting then.
So, oh, go ahead, Sam.
So the only things that the work group is going to talk about on Thursday are the findings and recommendations. And so changes to the history piece, if you guys are all fine with them, I don't think they need to be reviewed by the work group Thursday. Maybe they'll have their last call in March on that. The same with in the body of the report. But Amelia, if you can pull up the planning commission stuff, I agree with you that there was virtually nothing other than thanks, interesting stuff on the history. And there was almost nothing on for shorthand, Mary and Louisa's section. So you could pull them up and look at them. So I don't think this is a task. I mean, it's a task because, you know, they want to know we've been responsive, but I don't think there's anything there.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Hang on.
Well, I always like it when there's no there.
Right.
Is a good thing.
To the extent there was, it was all about, you know, they talked about wanting more public involvement and outreach, and you have that. That's like the whole thing in those findings and recommendations.
Haha, got it. Okay, hang on. Share my screen. Can everybody
That's
see?
That's history.
Wait, could you go back up to the history first? Just a second. Those aren't any points, so clarification on what is recommended, but we're not making a recommendation.
Right.
Character of the area. I don't remember using that word, but I'm sure I did.
No, I don't think that's with reference to the history. I think that's with reference to some stuff that Sam had before the history. I don't think the history started until like page 44 or something, 41 or something.
Okay. So nothing for history is that we all agree on?
That's how it looks to me.
Okay.
Ginger, what do you
Can't
think?
argue with that.
I think they're 100% good with history. So
Let's move on.
Okay, I will scroll down to section E. These were their only thoughts.
That's good. I think you guys.
And that last question looks substantive, but not addressed to us.
Right.
Correct. In fact, it's gone to the legal, I was just going to point out, Mark, that question went to the legal subcommittee and they're addressing it because the answer is no, the planning commission does not have the ability to add conditions of approval during an application under the way Benton County's language currently is.
Yeah, so I think that task is done, Millie.
Okay. Check. But yeah, to answer your question, Marge, we're still kind of creating the documents that will go into draft 4 of the full report. We're not presenting the full report on Thursday.
Okay.
So there's still time to get the changes that we talked about earlier into that version of the document. The next thing I have on my list, if I can figure out what I just did. Okay. Checking in about sub E and the like appendix sections of the community outreach stuff. I went through and made all of the key findings and recommendations for the part of that section that's going to be in the body of the report into sentences so that they match the format of the other subcommittees' key findings and recommendations. And when I was doing that, I noticed that we have sending postcards as a recommendation for basically every type of outreach. And I didn't know if that had been updated since our last conversation with Corey, so I wanted to check in about that. So Mary and Louisa, is that still accurate?
I saw that on there. I was going to say something. I have to look at there's so many copies, so I don't, oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I feel like there's several copies and I'm not sure which is which at the moment, but I don't think we put it on every single notification situation. Do you think we did, Mary? I think it was for the most important 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd have to go back and look at the recommendation, but I think so, yeah.
The other note about that document is that it doesn't look like all of Ginger's edits got made into that most recent draft of the
Well,
outreach report.
So I need, Louisa does not know how to do any of that stuff. I thought she already put it in there. So I just didn't do anything. I thought the edits were already in the body of the paper. I need to do a tutorial apparently on how to do all that stuff, but I just don't have time right now. So that can be on my list
No,
We'll do it.
it's okay.
someday. But, so I thought when she said she edited it, she already put it in there.
Yeah, most of it, I'm sorry about that, Louisa. Most of it
Oh,
was
it's
in the
okay.
comments and I just was trying to, like, I had to clarify the timeline, for example, on the CUP application, because that needed to match up to with what Mark and Marge had in theirs. And so it was actually, it went before if I'm remembering correctly, it went before the Planning Commission in November. That's when the Planning Commission had 2 hearings, but the CUP was actually filed months earlier in June.
I mean, I
late
just
May or early
went
June.
by the stuff that the legal committee and the county gave us. So that's all I,
Yeah. Well, they're wrong.
that's fine.
So
I thought, well,
the
because I read it and I was like, that seems kind of similar to what we had. So, okay, good.
Yeah,
Wasn't too-
I mean, I can incorporate it into the document, or Sam, Millie, if you guys want to take a pass, that's fine. I want to make sure the timeline information is accurate. It's that kind of stuff.
So I think the timeline information is accurate and we can do that. I guess the question is to Mary and Louisa, did you have any comments or concerns or suggested edits to Ginger's proposed edits? And if you do, great, we'll hash them out and get them done. If you're okay with them, then it's a matter of copy and pasting and accepting changes, which for $29.95 will teach you how to do at a time that's convenient for you. Operators are standing by.
Well, I don't know because I read it and so I thought that that's what she had put in there. So I'll have to look at it again. On when not it past, yeah, I don't know. I could on Wednesday. I can look at it.
As long as they don't, Ginger, did you, any of your edits affect findings and recommendations?
I don't believe so. I mean, I don't want to say with 100% certainty that they didn't. I can go back and look really quick while we're on this call.
Well, I feel
I don't
when-
recall changing anything in findings and recommendations, just, you know, clarifying timeline issues were the big ones that struck my memory at this point.
Well, and I
I'm
had
sure
put
I
some
got it here
comments
on the
on there,
computer.
I think, too. I just remember thinking, oh, I don't really know what to say because I don't know the facts. I just took them from our.
Let me find it and then I can share screen if needed. Hold on.
And I did dump the most recent version that I have of the full report and just the key findings and recommendations. I dumped both those documents in the chat. And the key findings and recommendations document does include the edits that you made, Mary, on the 19th about the landfill specific language. But I don't know if it reflects anything from Ginger's from before.
Can I share my screen?
You
Please?
should be able to.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask permission.
have
That's,
that.
I didn't want to just take over.
It was
Hi.
an ability question, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't an ability question. It was a being polite question. Okay, so here, this sentence, for example, in March 22, Republic Services withdrew its appeal. Let's see. There's a comment here. I'll move this over to the side. Oh yeah, this gets into that issue we talked about before. Whether we don't want this to be construed as just being for Republic Services. So do we need to broaden any language there?
Oh, but I did edit those things at
Okay,
one
so
point,
those,
but
so
I just don't know if maybe it didn't get,
I mean, like I said, there wasn't a ton. It was here. I don't know. I didn't look to see if it was this one because I was mostly concerned with timeline stuff. Yeah, here's the timeline. Which bodies are involved. And then there was a couple of other references, Loa. So if you want me to go in, I can incorporate these, or if there's any sort of
well, Ginger, I thought I went in and I edited all that, and except
Okay.
for the things that you said you edited, I thought were already done in the body of the paper, I guess. But if you had
Yeah, I think
questions, I went in and edited it, I thought. but
okay.
I don't know.
I'm not trying to be facetious here, but did you send it? And Millie, did you get Louise's responsive edits to the document that Ginger is sharing right now?
Yes. I got the document that Louisa that you sent me, and I merged it with the one that Mary had sent. I totally could have merged them incorrectly and lost some of your edits. That could 100% be my fault. And I apologize if that happens to be the case.
Well, Millie, before you take one for the team, let me make sure I looked at the right version and it's not on my end that something went awry here. So I'll go back and look at what you sent out and make sure that I actually pulled up the right thing. I've been having, my company did some sort of thing, like I'm moving offices, and they did some sort of thing with a massive security update to my system, and nothing has worked properly since. So
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Well, Mary, did you notice, because when I looked at the document, to me, it didn't look like the conclusion was edited. And that I thought was one of the main things you were gonna do. Did you think that your editing got completed on there?
I have to go look at it right now, but I remember editing the conclusion and sending that document to Amelia. So, I mean, I would assume it's edited.
If it turns out that I merged them incorrectly and that's where the glitch is, which is a very real possibility, I will take full ownership of that, and I will make sure that Ginger's stuff and any changes to the conclusion, Mary, that aren't reflected in the current document get put in and adjusted before we meet again and before I send it back out to you guys for this week. Because that's totally possible.
And then Millie, on Wednesday, I think I just feel like I need to look at the original one and then look at the comments so I can see, because I can't remember what I wrote. I mean, honestly, so I'd have to look at what was the original was, and I just haven't had time at the last couple weeks to really do that. So
Totally okay.
I could try to do that.
Well, let me just make sure we have nailed the process down here. And I'm doing it by memory. I think step one needs to be for Amelia to put in a document later this evening that has the current state of everything, that Louisa's changes, Mary's changes, and then that document should be sent to Ginger to track change it. And I don't think putting things in the comments, they're great for explanation, but actually editing the document with the implementing edits, then it's easier for people to say agree or disagree to those proposed edits than trying to translate a comment into what it would actually look like in the body of the document.
Sam, that's fine with me. Millie, I think maybe part of the problem was that something was grabbed earlier than, and maybe, so do you see what's on the screen?
Yes,
That's not right.
that's unfortunate.
So I don't know where that came from. And so I could be looking at the wrong thing, or maybe we didn't cut and paste everything over that we had from an earlier version or whatever, but this was the document that I was referring to here when I was thinking that changes had not been made throughout. So just to clarify, that was the one that first sentence was the one that caught me off guard because of the November 2021 date. So yeah, if you can, or putting it all together, I'll be happy to go through and just like line by line and red line, just to be clear with the group. I don't see anything in here in the findings and the recommendations that need to be changed. It's just accuracy things as it relates to the timeline and stuff like that I just want to make sure gets
Ginger, on the one that Millie, or
It's fine.
us,
I'm sorry. I go back and
says-
forth. It's confusing.
no, it's okay. It says June 2021.
right, but what was at the top of this document? And so am I looking at the wrong document? Because this is what I got via email this afternoon. or
No,
yesterday.
that looks like the document that I sent out. Because it has everything's been transferred with the footnotes. So
Right.
that is the document I sent out to you.
Okay, so I just need to go in and make some adjustments on dates and stuff in here. We'll figure it out.
Except for well, maybe it's in the second part only, because the one I'm looking at the very, very beginning, and it says in June 2021, Republic Services filed its initial CUP. So maybe it's later because these things repeat.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering with the
Okay.
cut and paste is maybe we picked it up correctly from one portion, but not on the other. What page are you on, Louisa?
One.
What's the date at the
The
top of that
introduction.
document?
Mary's got her hand up.
2/23.
Okay, so this is 2/17. What was sent out,
Oh.
so something just didn't
Something happened.
transfer.
Because on here it says it's saved as version ginger edits 2.
Yeah, that's what I had sent, but
Oh, okay. I put a bunch of stuff on my screen, so maybe okay.
Sorry.
Maybe
What-
it's the other one.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Mary.
I'm gonna shut up now and let Mary go.
Oh, I looked at the conclusion side by side, and I think that the document that you sent today, I think it has my edits on it. At least it has the edits from the conclusion
Okay.
on that one.
So yours got edited in, we're pretty sure, but Louisa's got dropped, and that meant that anything that Ginger had like commented on but hadn't directly done in the document also got dropped. So I will go in and I will make sure that the dates and whatnot are accurate to the February 2nd version with Ginger's edits, and then make sure that any rewrites are consistent with the document Louisa sent me.
I will say I did not.
Oh,
No, it's
no.
okay. I didn't edit that one part though, Ginger, that was the dates. Or Millie, we just transfer what she had wanted in the comment and put it in there?
That's what I'll do. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
I think the real question is, should we have a finding as to who was at fault? Because it's all about blaming and not fixing problems. Ha. Go. So I'm glad we got that worked out.
Okay.
It'll be me.
I don't know. There's been a lot of documents going back and forth. The other note I have, and I guess this will be something we'll look at once I send out the amended and mended version of the report, is making sure that all of the footnotes still match up. I did them originally based off of the document that you had sent me, Louisa, but not every footnote in that list of sources was referenced. So I went in and matched everything up with what had been listed before, but I just want to make sure that in the course of all the document shuffle that nothing has happened. So have either Mary or Louisa, once I send out this new version tonight, one of you look over it and just make sure that it looks like how you feel like it's supposed to.
When does that need to be completed?
In a week.
Yeah.
Okay,
In
I
other
can
words,
do that.
We can finalize it next
I can do it
Monday.
too.
As long
The-
as I don't get sick again.
Yeah, please don't. So the only thing that I'm trying to stabilize for Thursday are the findings and recommendations. Those are the things we have to nail, hopefully in the next 36 hours or so that they can go to the work group.
Let me, would you like to pull those up so we can kind of look at them and make sure they seem relatively consistent?
Great.
That was a question, but okay. Let me just share my screen.
These look accurate to me. The only thing is that, like in here, the CUP filing, I think you probably want, I mean, my suggestion is a CUP filing or something
here?
like that. Yeah. The indicates that we're talking about like one singular CUP being Republic Services CUP.
Oh.
But
And this is just what I was noting about the postcard. We talk about having them for like the board hearing, for the CUP filings. I think they get mentioned for CUP completion here as well, and a franchise agreement change. Those are all relatively big things, but it just occurred multiple times, and I know we've talked a lot about the postcards, so I wanted to make sure that was still accurate.
Well, what you did for that when you created text versus the table is you simply copy and pasted what was in the table. You didn't add postcard wherever you.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the sentence version of what was in the tables that were created. I didn't change any of the content. I just made them sentences instead of bullet points.
Do you guys think we should say like postcard and or you know, it's extensive media campaign, but it doesn't have to be extensive. Something that means like more choices, more outreach, you know, different outreach methods, postcard or something else. I can't think of the word right now, but does that make sense?
I think you gave it the specificity you thought it deserved, and the subcommittee believed that. And these are recommendations. Tactically, I'd recommend you ask for more
Okay.
because they're not likely to be able to fund all of it. So why not give them the whole meal deal version?
Yeah, like it's better to ask for more because you probably aren't going to get all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think those are big. It looks like to me the postcard is under things that are pretty big. So what do you think? Anyone?
I think we're good to go.
Looks
Right.
good to me.
And nothing else here is jumping out for anyone. Okay. Well, if something does jump out, you're totally email the group, but I guess we'll have those. Those are our findings and recommendations for Thursday. And speaking of Thursday, what do we want to be presenting to the subcommittee as far as like questions or clarification or anything we want them to address around these findings and recommendations?
So here is, as Millie said, this has been evolving here in the last 3 or 4 days or so. So here is the current plan. We will have roughly a 30-page document. It's going to include each subcommittee's findings and each subcommittee's recommendations. There is also going to be what I'm calling for shorthand a crosswalk document that the far left column are going to be findings that, oh, I got to let Mary back in here. It'll have findings where there is disagreement across subcommittees. So it'll say, a finding on an memorandum of understanding. And it'll say what the legal subcommittee's finding is and where the conflicting CUP findings subcommittee is and or the conflicting capacity subcommittee is. And those are going to be things that we will discuss. We will do the same thing for recommendations. It will also include, in a kind of a triage fashion, towards the bottom of that crosswalk document, things that are not in bold conflict, but there are nuanced differences between various subcommittees' findings. Okay. And if there's time, there's going to, so give you an example of there are similar, maybe there's a few nuances. The legal subcommittee has findings on notification for the CUP and for this stage that goes into first, which is the record complete and what information is missing. We will put those in this table and then reference to your findings and recommendations where it says with specificity what you think should be done, so that everyone that has all in one place notification issues, to the extent there's any similarities or differences between, and this is a good example, what legal says and what you say. They're not inconsistent. One is, yours is more detail on the legal recommendation about notification, and then you provide the specifics. And so I think that's the best way to organize this, which means that there is not a formal presentation needed by any of the subcommittee members. It's more of, when I get to that portion of the crosswalk, I will point out, for example, what I just said, and ask if anyone wants to refine either of these now that they see them side by side. And then you will be the ones in the conversation about that. I won't be trying to explain that which you know off the top of your head. You will be engaged in whoever is talking to see if we can land the plane. So that's how Thursday is likely to work. Questions, comments, suggestions for improvement? Yeah.
So I know I missed a meeting. So the last meeting I was at, you had asked us about an open house, postcard, all that stuff or at once our whole report comes out. Have we made a decision on that, or is that something we can ask at the meeting on Thursday for the input during that time?
So
Or input during that time?
I'm looking for my so someday over the weekend, I sent out a updated work plan and the agenda for Thursday's meeting. The updated work plan, let's see if I can get it in focus.
I'll see if I can pull it up.
Basically, it now has the open house on the draft report for March 9th. And we will, at that open house, we are dealing with the recommendations that will come from the work group and getting public input on those. The open house that you have always been focused on correctly is, if you could scroll down to the next page, Millie, is going to be somewhere in this time frame, meaning in April. We haven't landed the plane on that because the board hasn't decided what its public-facing public input mechanism is going to be. What we do know is that the first time they will talk about BCTT at all is at its April 18th meeting. So I do not think your public-facing open house, the big one, is going to happen before that meeting. I think it's going to happen after that meeting. They may decide once they get the draft of the work group report, which is on the 24th of March, that they want to do something before then or not. That would surprise me, because they still will be digesting the BCTT report.
That's all I have, folks. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? Yeah, Mark.
Oh, just one other thing. Well, two. One, I want to thank Ginger for getting back so that we could keep this mood, we could take care of this so well. That was really useful. And the other thing is, I forgot there was one detail. I woke up in the night and go, oh yeah. Someone wanted me to mention that E.E. Wilson has wetlands. E.E. Wilson is wetlands. And so I just want to put that in there somewhere. Not, I'm not going to make it. I don't even think I need a whole sentence, but I think I talk at some point about its woods and all this stuff. And I want to be totally transparent. Everything I do, that's the way we've been operating, and I really like it and I appreciate it. So I'm going to stick that in somewhere if that's okay with everybody. It'll just be saying, that's one of the characteristics of the E.E. Wilson. Okay. Great. Sorry about that, but it's been bugging me. I knew there was this last little piece, and I don't want to hear from SWAC about that one. Okay.
So, Mark, you can feel free in the middle of the night to call us so you don't
call Sam,
forget.
don't call me.
Sam's
Call
probably
Sam.
up, to be honest.
Just feel free.
Someday
Just
I'm not going to wake up with any of this in my mind.
just call, I'll be working.
I'll put you on speed dial.
Perfect.
Mark, did you guys sign off on the graphic? I just want to make sure that we close the loop there. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was anything in there that needed to change based on SWAC, DSAC, or if we were covered there. So that was the one piece I wanted to follow up on.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Marge.
I think there were some comments from SWAC, but I don't think that's something that, honestly, I hate to mess with something like a graphic like that after it's been created. I mean, there's to me, that's a big hill to climb, to redo something that's at that stage. Okay, and so maybe I just admitted that I didn't pay proper attention to something. But in any case, crucify me.
I won't hold it against you in any public or private setting, Mark.
Okay. And the other thing I think you guys should say on Thursday, when you're going to see some of the other subcommittee stuff struggling, but you should say, folks, we started after you and finished before you. Nah. I think that would be an appropriate way to sign off your things on Thursday.
Yeah, except I think Marge and I are both on the other subcommittees that are still struggling. So
Right.
ability to lord that over people. I mean, we're
Right.
to get everybody in shape, but that hasn't happened yet.
You've been my poster children for getting shit done. So thank you for that.
Well, I wouldn't have guessed that from earlier, Sam, but let me just say, I won't be there on Thursday because I don't see the need for it and I got another thing to do. So
Perfectly understandable.
But,
All right. Have an enjoyable weekend. And this is what I changed into, because I'm going off to play, wait for it, in an over 60 men's soccer league. And if you were to come and watch the game and paid very close attention, occasionally you could perceive movement. But if you were to blink or check your phone or something, you'd have to come back next week that hopes it happened again.
I am not looking forward to getting up there in that cold this week. I am.
Yeah. It'll be fun. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks so much.
Same time next
Bye.
week.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.